Hello, everyone, and welcome to this video for Creative Careers Week. Thank you to LED Creatives for making this happen. And today we are with Nick. Nick, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'd be delighted to. It's great to be here. My name's Nik Perring, and I'm an author. I write books for a living. But as well as writing books and stories, I also teach people how to write as well.
Awesome. So, I guess my first question to you would be what made you want a creative career?
That's a really, really good question. I think, secretly, I think most people really fancy being able to do that. The cool thing with writing is that I don't know if it's a cool thing or if it's a difficult thing. I think they're both kind of finely balanced. But, you write about what you want to write about. And I always like the idea of being able to explore that. As a kid, I was massively into music. And that was always gonna be what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a musician. I wanted to be a singer. And I spent an awful lot of time writing songs when I was younger, but it turns out I'm better off writing short stories and books than I am at writing music. But I always wanted to get into the arts in some way because I think it's a really cool way to express yourself and it's a really cool way to live. I think, because everybody likes art in some way, be it watching something on the TV or the cinema, watching a pantomime or something on stage, playing a video game, listening to music, reading books, that there's art is in our lives, and to be able to do that for a living, to make that, was something that I always really, really wanted to do. And I suppose not having a boss was really appealing as well, because I did work as well, of course, but I prefer kind of telling myself what to do.
No, yeah, that's a really good point that kind of art is kind of all around us, and even though people may not realize it, even sitting down and watching the TV is some kind of art in there. So yeah, I think everyone's involved in art and creativity in some way, even if they don't realize it. So I think that's a really good point.
Enjoy, every TV show you watch will have been written. Somebody will
Mm.
have sat down, or a group of people have sat down and written the script for it. So yeah, that art is what makes people happy. It's what people get. It's what helps people get through stuff like we've just been struggling with for the past year, with lockdown and COVID and all that kind of stuff. Everybody's going to Netflix, aren't they, or reading books and stuff like that. Yeah, and that's brought to you by people who write things down and make things up.
Yeah, and that's a really good point. And like you said, another good point is someone who like writes films and that a group of people had to sit down and write that script. So you've got all the different kind of people involved in making that one thing happen, which I think is another really key point you've brought up there as well.
And what I was
Um,
saying when we were talking about careers as well, I mean, I look at it from somebody who does the making up. I make things up and I write them down. But if we're using film as an example, there are so many different art forms involved in making a film. There's cameramen, there are people who do the makeup and the hair and the costumes and the sets and the props, building things for these things. There are people that specialize in lighting and special effects and computers and CGI and all that kind of stuff. There are people who do the sound editing on it. So if you want a creative career, it doesn't have to be one that involves writing things down. There is an absolute bunch. I've just unplugged my microphone, which is really not very creative. Um, which is there's loads of opportunities to be involved in the arts, even if you're not making stuff up.
Yeah, definitely. Awesome. Yeah, really good point there. Thank you. So, I guess I'd like to know what you think your biggest achievement has been in your career so far. I know that's a difficult one, but
Oh God,
you can give me more than one if you want.
I'd like to say there's so many. Gosh, I think the biggest achievement is still being able to do it. I think
Mm.
on the flip side of the cool things about being your own boss and being able to make up whatever you want, um, it's not the easiest thing to be in, because you're constantly having to make things up. You're constantly having to put new material out there. So I think the biggest achievement is still being it. I wrote my first. I was first published, should I say, in, I think it was 2003 or 2004. So to be able to do it 16 years on is really amazing. And the other side of it, it's not just about writing. I've won things for stories, which is really, really cool. They've been broadcast on radio, they've been performed on stage. One of them was used on a course with Dave Eggers, who did the film of Where the Wild Things Are. He was a Pulitzer Prize nominee. So they're all massive achievements. But I also work with people, showing them how to write books and poems and stories. And I think
giving back is probably up there with my biggest achievements.
Mm.
Seeing, taking away the mystery of writing and kind of showing that everybody can do it, and seeing people, who may not have even considered it before, be really, really good at it and be published, or win the BBC Young Writer of the Year award last year. Somebody else I worked with this year has just was on the shortlist for it. Seeing people being able to express themselves, not only in terms of poems or writing or anything like that, but literally being able to stand up in front of somebody, because if you're able to share something that you wrote in a group or something like that confidently, in the end, you'll be able to do an interview really, really well. You'll be able to speak to other people in a confident manner. So I think they're the achievements that I kind of hold the dearest, I think.
No, and the fact that you said about just being able to do it is kind of an achievement. I think you're totally right there. Yeah, I guess it's very lucky that you can make a career out of something you love doing. And
Yeah,
it is possible. You've just got to work at it, I guess, and keep trying and don't give up, I guess, would be is something I
exactly. But
found.
that's how you get good at anything.
Mm.
It doesn't matter if you want to be a ballerina or a footballer, or if you want to be really good at computers, or being a postman, and whatever it is, you need to practice. You need to work hard. And if you do, hopefully the idea is that it comes back and you benefit from that.
Definitely, yeah, 100%. And no, yeah, I agree with everything you've said there. So what would you say you enjoy? I guess you may have already covered this, but what do you most enjoy about what you get to do?
I love being able to make stuff up, and I love being able to make people feel. I've said this a lot over this past few months, that I think the point of art is to make people feel. And
Mm.
that could be, feeling awe of seeing a painting. It could be feeling terrified because you're seeing something scary. It could be, feeling a part of something and reassured. Because we're looking at the world through a slightly different lens, with everyone being locked down and not being able to see their friends and family and stuff like that. So I think, yeah, the bit that I enjoy the most is being able to put something out there that makes people feel or think
Mm.
about things differently, or look at the world in a different way, or cry. Crying's the best one, I
Mm.
think. Most
Mm.
writers will tell you that whenever they hear, somebody that they don't know, that they've never met in their life, has bought their book or they've seen the movie or whatever it is, and it's made them cry, you kind of get that weird thing where you go, "Oh, I've made somebody cry," but just I've
Yeah.
made somebody cry. I've made them feel, and that's the bit that I like the most, I think.
Yeah, I really like that point actually about making people feel. I know when Captain Sir Tom Moore
Mm,
first kind of he was around, and I know when he sadly passed away, the first thing
yeah,
people were doing is creating paintings or drawings, or there were statues of him. So the
yeah,
first thing people did to make people feel kind of about that was to do something creative like drawing. And I think that just goes to prove that art can actually really touch people and make people
yeah.
feel in these times. So yeah, that's a
And
really good
actually,
point.
it's a really natural thing to do. It's a really natural reaction to have, isn't it? Either to make it, or to enjoy it. I
Mm.
get as emotional, or enjoy it as much seeing what somebody else has done and going, God, yeah, wow, that's made me think of Sir Tom Moore. That's made me really proud and happy, or sad, or whatever emotion it is I'm feeling. As much as, writing something down for him. I think that's a really natural thing. People get me. I always think, if you like football, people they get goosebumps when they hear the Champions League music going on.
Yeah,
You hear, I don't know, a jingle from an advert when you're a kid, or like the theme tune from your favorite show when you were 9 years old. You
yeah,
still get those feelings inside you, and I think that's really important. But everybody does it. We all have that emotional reaction, and to be a part of that, either as an audience member, listening to it or hearing it or reading it or putting it out there, I think is brilliant.
yeah, definitely. And even if you can't remember your words to your favorite TV song, someone will always be able to hum it, or they'll tap along and like
Yeah.
do the beat. So yeah, no, that's a really good point. That the first thing, or when someone's trying to explain something, they'll like a TV show, they'll go, "Oh, and the theme tune is," and they'll hum it. So I
That's
guess
it.
the first thing for them to
I,
go to is like the music or something. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Totally. And what you're doing is you're bringing people together when you're doing that,
Yeah.
and people will sing along to it. And then you get the conversation going, oh, do you remember, like the Friends thing, the one when, do you remember the one where Joey did this or whatever? It does bring people together. It's a real privilege to be a part of it.
Definitely, yeah. No, some really good points there again. So I guess the next thing I'd like to ask is, what are some of the challenges that you faced throughout your kind of creative career?
I guess the two biggest challenges would be kind of what I touched on before, is it making stuff up that's going to be
Mm.
interesting to people, and staying in it financially, because ultimately publishing, which is what I'm in, is a business, and publishing companies are set up to make money. That's how they stay afloat. That's how they pay their staff, and they want to sell books. So giving them something that they will be able to sell to people that are interested enough, and then people buying them, because there's no guarantee that anybody's going to
Mm.
buy anything just because you've written it. I think they're the biggest challenges. But as far as kind of advice goes, I think if you're doing something that you care about or that you believe in and that you enjoy, most importantly, you will do good things.
Mm.
If you feel that you're good at it, if you're confident in doing it, the rest will kind of come. It might take time. Publishing especially is really strange because it goes at two speeds. It either goes at like a frozen snail's pace, where you're waiting months and months and months
Mm.
for anybody to reply to you, and then bang, it goes at sort of hyper speed where everything needs to be done yesterday. So kind of balancing that's really, really tricky as well. So I mean, like I say, in terms of advice, I think sticking out what you enjoy is really, really important. Making sure you keep the fun in it, making sure that you're still enjoying it, and having the patience and the belief that what you're doing will get you where you want to go in the end. And that might not be the particular book you're writing. You might have to write a better book after it. It might not be the I don't know, the lap you're doing around the track, but every time you do that, you are putting something in the bank
Mm.
that you're going to use later, or that's going to make it easier for you to do whatever it is you're trying to do another time. So, remembering that nothing's wasted, even when things can feel really kind of bleak and that you're wasting your time. um, yeah, I think that's the advice that I give.
Yeah, and that's a really good point about just keep kind of going and just keep doing stuff, even if you're not too sure about it. Just go for it and do it, because I do a lot of performing, and through
Cool.
that, I ended up being doing a project with ITV Fixers. Like, I was only in it for about 10 seconds, but still to have. I was about 16 at the time, and to have that opportunity, because I just kept going and putting myself
Yeah.
forward for things, was just like, oh wow, I was on ITV. That's pretty cool.
It's
So
amazing.
uh,
Congratulations.
yeah, so I guess just to kind of have, just like I always say, like, say yes to every opportunity that's thrown at you, and just
I
go
think
for it,
so.
even if you're a little bit like, not sure if I'm going to enjoy that. I always just think, what, why not? If you say no, you'll probably regret it, and then you'll be like, oh. So yeah, I
I
always say
think,
yes.
I think you might not enjoy it. So what? You've tried it. You don't know. And the thing is, you can always just stop. You can always say, actually, this isn't for me. I don't enjoy this.
Mm.
And I'm a big believer in that. So, look for opportunities, trust your gut, because your instinct's usually right. Go for stuff that, if I can write books, I've had 5 books published and God knows how many short stories and stuff like that. And if I can do it from a boring town not far from Manchester, I never went to university or anything like that. I
Mm.
took early retirement from education. But if I can do it, there's no reason why anybody else can't do the same. And like I said, if you're not enjoying it, try and find something else. Give it a fair go. But I say this with books. People say, "Oh, I found it really hard. But I had to finish it." And you think, "Well, no, you didn't. If you're not enjoying it, put it down and find something that you prefer to read."
Mm.
There's nobody's going to give you an extra tick or an extra load of money for finishing something that you're not enjoying. Um,
Yeah.
you know,
Definitely. And I think as well, it always helps if you enjoy something, you're more likely to kind of feel like, yeah, and feel more motivated to do it if you enjoy it. So I think that's kind
yeah.
of really important as well. And I guess from saying that, I'd like to know, how do you come up with your ideas for your books? Is it just random thoughts, or how does that work?
Um, each one's different. I think ideas come from just looking at things and thinking about things.
Mm.
My big thing is, what if? You can look at something. What if something happened that made it interesting? What if, looking out my window, there's not much going on? What if an alien spaceship landed there? What if zombies started approaching me? What if we were told the sun's going to go out and the planet's going to die in 5 years? And writing things that I think would interest me, that I'd like to pick up and read, I'd like to watch on the TV or something like that. That's where ideas come from. And yeah, but having fun with it, experimenting, enjoying it. And the thing with writing is nobody ever asks you to do it. It's not like, J.K. Rowling's got people on the phone and say, you need to write this, you need to write that. She does what she wants to do, or, Stephen King or whoever. And if you write something, you don't have to share it. You don't have to show anybody. You can just do it for fun. And again, like we were saying before, that, that idea of if you're enjoying something, other things might come from that. You don't know what you're doing, and that putting the stuff in the bank sort of thing will stand you in good stead later. Down, you've written a story for an hour. The next time you need to write an essay or something like that, or write something for somebody else, you know that you can do it, and you might be a little bit more confident in putting your fingers on your keyboard or your pen to paper. It all kind of feeds into something better that moves you along as a person, which sounds like really philosophical and stuff like that. It isn't. It's more kind of logic or common sense or something.
Yeah. So you've given a lot of kind of advice and tips and tricks already, but is there anything else that you'd any other advice you'd give to kind of young people wanting a creative career?
Be bold enough to trust your ideas. A lot of people, when I teach it, are terrified by ideas. They're like, I've got this idea, but it's probably not what you want in, or it don't really matter what I want. What matters is what you think of it. And if you've thought of it, it's valid anyway. I can guarantee you somebody else will as well. If you look at your favorite films, your favorite TV shows, your favorite comics, whatever it is, a lot of them will sound like silly ideas when you boil it down to it. A magic wardrobe that opens. Sorry, a magic wardrobe sounds ridiculous until you find out that it opens into Narnia. A box that's bigger on the inside doesn't sound that great until you find out that it's a spaceship that can go anywhere in time as well. So trust your ideas. If you like them, other people will as well. And don't be afraid of learning either. There's no shame. I mean, I've been doing this, like I say, for 16 years, 17 years or something like that. And I'm constantly looking for different ways to improve it, or to watch different things, to read different things. Always stuff that I enjoy. And if I don't like it, I chuck it to one side and I do something else. But like you said, always look for opportunities, because they're there for you. People have the schemes in place. They have the BBC Writers' Room or 2020 Productions are there for people to get involved with. They're not there for a select few. They're not there for some sort of weird, top of the hierarchy sort of thing. They're there for everybody. So don't be afraid of putting yourself forward and taking part. And the thing with stuff like that is, the majority of the time, everybody in that room is the same as you. They want to hear what you got to say. They're there to support you. They might be feeling nervous as well. So, we're all trying to do the same thing.
There's some really good kind of tips there. Just be bold and go for it, I think, is what we spoke about a lot. And have I guess it's all about self-belief as well. Is you got to just believe in yourself, I guess, and go for it.
And they will, they will. Yeah, like I say, look at the most successful things of all time. A yellow family from Springfield.
Random.
How many years on are we still enjoying The Simpsons? There's so much there that, like I say, if you'd have come up with it yourself, you'd have thought, oh, nobody wants to watch that. No, it's rubbish. But actually, because Matt Groening committed to it and had a go, it ended up being, I think it's like 30 odd years old, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
It's brilliant.
No, that's really awesome. I think we spoke about a lot of cool things there. So thank you very much for that. And make sure guys, you keep an eye on our page for more resources this week coming out about Creative Careers Week. Thank you.